In today's episode, I'm going to sit down and talk to Ankita Ghosh. We're going to dive into how to get started in creative advertising and what are the most important skills you need to learn if you want to become a creative director in the future. Ankita has worked with brands like Coca-Cola and Durex, and she will share with us her advertising campaigns with them and how fun it was and what were the hurdles that she had to go through as a young marketer. Plus, Ankita is a really funny comedian in Ho Chi Minh City, so if you're around, don't hesitate to join her shows and have a big laugh. This episode is actually very close to me because I've always wanted to reach out to Ankita, and through this podcasting channel, I had the courage and reach out and DM her to say, hey, I really like your work and I would love to have you on this channel. She said yes. So let's get into the episode. Creative director, how did you get into the creative, become a creative director?
I studied science, I have a master's in science, and then, everybody was hoping that I would become a researcher or go into academics or something. But when it came to choosing my career, I thought that I'm more inclined to do creative things. And a friend of mine was working in a non-creative department in an advertising agency. And I just told him that, hey, I think I can do copywriting. And then he was like, oh, really? Then come meet our copywriter. And so I made 4 or 5 ads on my own, and I saw the copywriter, and she was quite impressed. And then she just directed me to a couple of more agencies back home in India. And I got a job, and that's how I started my journey in advertising. And it's a long journey. I think this is my 22nd year in advertising.
So awesome. How old were you when you switched from science to marketing? I mean, creative advertising.
My master's, and literally right after that, I jumped into a job in advertising. And
I would like to ask you, okay, how does your day-to-day look like as a creative director? I don't know much about creative directing, although I heard a little bit. I can envision what it means, but I think it's best if you tell me.
So right now, I'm not in a 9-to-5 job. I'm freelancing with agencies. So right now, in my what I do is I go twice a week to an agency here. But then if I describe to you when I was working with agency on a normal, with Dentsu or Geometry here, it's crazy. You just go to office. You don't know when you get out. But the work process is like you receive a brief, then you brainstorm with your team, and the team comes up with ideas. And when you are a creative director, your responsibility is more of taking those ideas and sharpening them, checking that if they're answering the brief to solve the client's problems, and then basically also give a creative direction to how to express those ideas in terms of art, in terms of copy. There is a team which is executing it, but you are kind of, you are as a guardian angel. You're the owner of the whole campaign, and you're looking at how it's actually, if it's matching to your vision, and how it's coming up, and making sure that it looks really good and reads really good, that it becomes a successful campaign eventually when it gets out. So it's a very, very interesting and fun process, but also very, very, you have to work really hard.
I would like to ask you is that right now, so do you have your own team, or do you go to the agency and then you help their in-house team to put those campaigns together?
Agency's in-house team. I mean, with this agency, actually, I have helped them hire people also. So the team is the agency owner, and I kind of interview people together, and we know what our goals are, what kind of people we are looking for. So we do that. And I work with their team.
So do they have any expectations with this campaign, this is the ROI we are looking at, or this is how many leads or customers we're looking at?
Always.
And how can you, with creative ideas, I think it's really hard to envision okay, with this creative idea, I can just get this many clients or this many products sold. How do you measure those things?
I mean, when you work for a long time in the industry, then you get an idea of what's going to work and what's not going to work. And there are measurement metrics, and, based on the KPI, sometimes it's just brand love. Sometimes it could be lead generation. So based on the KPIs, and so what I described to you is the creative part of the campaign. And then there comes the media part. So you go on media, and you also work closely with the media team as to which assets to push media money on more, and then which assets not so much, and all of that. So together we work, and then we have measurement KPIs, and then we also have the flexibility to, mid campaign to revise stuff, because we can see that, okay, this content is performing really well, and this is not so much, so maybe we can change it a little bit to make this perform well as well. So yeah, it's a very dynamic process as well.
Hi, if you listen to this far, thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on either Apple Podcast, Spotify, or my YouTube channel. If you have any feedback for the show, please let me know on the Aspiring CMO Podcast social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, or send me an email on my website. Now, let's get back to the episode. How does that one campaign last? Like, is it like a 6 month campaign? Or
6 months is a big duration. Sometimes it can be just a 2-week campaign. Like, let's say a TikTok campaign will be very short-lived. 6 months is like a proper brand campaign will be probably 6 months. Let's say special occasion campaigns like Tech, the Lunar New Year, will be like 2 months, 3 months, something like that. So it also depends on the campaign objectives of how long a campaign will run.
oh, awesome! And what are can you tell me some project examples that you did before for, was it local brands actually, or are you working remotely? I think I missed that part.
Actually, it's both. I mean, so here in this market, I think the most fun I had is when I was working with Dentsu, and I was handling Durex. So I was basically handling the whole Reckitt Benckiser portfolio, but Durex was a major brand. And during my handling their account, we won a bunch of awards here in APAC and globally for just doing the Always On campaign. And it was such an interesting challenge because, we were talking about sex, which is a taboo subject. And then we were working in Vietnamese. So we had to find a way to make, English is easy to make innuendos work. But we had to find a way to make that work in Vietnamese. And we actually gave Durex a very different kind of personality. So we were being very topical. There's a new Fast and Furious movies releasing. There is a Lion King 3D version releasing. There is, Trump and Kim Jong-un meeting in Singapore. All of these, there's a football match going on, everything. We just took it up, and then Durex had a point of view based on that. And then it became so popular, and like literally people started waiting for our content. Like there would be something interesting, and then there will be comments on from our fans that, okay, what does Durex think about it? So we really managed to do a very lovely, and it was not just one campaign. It just went on for the 2 years that I was working there. It was an Always On campaign. So it was very challenging, very fun, very on the go, but very, very fulfilling as well, very rewarding. I also did handle a part of Coca-Cola, not Fusty, I would like to mention. So Fusty also, I did a very interesting campaign called Song in a Bottle campaign, where we did a very digital-based campaign. And then our main challenge was so we created a song with 3 influencers and all of that, but we also wanted to people to try the product because trials were not really great. So we locked the song in the bottle. So you had to basically scan the bottle to get to the song. And for the first 2 weeks of launching the campaign, you couldn't have downloaded or shared the song. So that kind of increased the trial a lot more. It was also a very fun campaign because when you are, moving around, let's say a Circle K, within 500 meters of Circle K, you will receive a video call from one of the influencers who will urge you to go and buy a bottle of Fusty and get to the new song. And so we had a lot of different lovely tactics, and which made this campaign also a big successful campaign. Again, we won a few awards locally as well as in APAC, which was great. So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. How do you land these clients that initially? Because now we are talking about peer present, but how did you get to work with Durex and Coca-Cola?
So Durex was a big pitch. They gave us a brief. They gave 7 agencies a brief, and there were 2 intense round of pitching, from which we won the client. So all the Coca-Cola also the same. So you basically go out there and pitch, and then you try as like your best to win the pitch, and then the client is yours. That's how it works.
Amazing. Are you the one also doing the pitches or is there someone else on the team?
Of course, I have to lead the pitches as well.
How do you feel making this pitch? Is it like, I feel like you must be so anxious, like stand in front of so many people and like kind of sell your idea.
I used to be, but I've done this for so long now. Now it just comes very naturally to me to go, and I know the storytelling. I know that because I am also so deeply involved in the campaign building. So the story is pretty clear in my head. So I know what I'm gonna say and how I'm gonna sell. You basically have to tell the story. So I was saying when I first started working as a, let's say, below creative director, like a creative group head or something. I mean, I was not a very confident storyteller. It just took me years of practice, and you just have to get better. It's like comedy. I mean, when you first start doing it, you're really bad. But then as you keep going, not give up, then you become better and better. So it's like that.
So cool. And were you working for the same agency for a while so that you became a creative director? How did you actually detach yourself from working in an agency to go freelance?
I worked with the multiple agencies in India. Then I lived in Bangladesh before moving here. So 2 agencies in Bangladesh, then 2 agencies here. And then 2020, right after COVID, basically I decided to go into freelancing rather than having just one 9 to 5 job, because agency life is also very stressful and it takes up a lot of your time. It was a tough call, but at the same time, I was just starting out comedy and I wanted to spend more time on comedy, and which seemed like it won't be possible if I continue with the agency job thing. Thankfully, right after I quit, I got offers from my friends who were my ex-colleagues as well, who started their own independent boutique agencies. They offered me to help them out, and that's just such an easy transition. I said yes to that, and then I started working, and very good. I'm really grateful that I get to work with friends now. But yeah, I was very anxious that I didn't know if I'll get enough freelance offers, because comedy is still not paying, right? So,
Okay. Yeah, I love your comedy shows too. Like, I think that your comedy show was the first one I went to in Saigon, and it was in Rehab Station. It was really fun. I love seeing you on stage, and it's I don't know. For me, comedy is like a great entertaining, how to say, activity. You know, instead of theater, you go to stand-up comedy, and then you actually get a beer. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So most of the time when you do your project, are those mostly TV commercial kind of type, or is it more digital ads, or is it a mix, or it really depends?
Nowadays, more people are having a very big focus on digital, but we also get TV commercials as well. It depends on the scale of the campaign, basically. Sometimes a client wants to go big and they want to do TV as well as digital campaign. Sometimes the client wants to do just a digital focused campaign. And then we come up with, the suitable kind of content, like hero content for a campaign. And then we have do the amplification, kind of have the legs and arms of the campaign. So it really depends on the client budget and the requirement, the campaign objective. When you really need mass awareness, TV still works because it just is everywhere. But then also kind of shows you as like a premium brand, like you go on TV and all that. But then also because everybody has a smartphone and people are spending so much time on social media. So social media is really very important as well. Like you can discard TV and just do social media campaigns as well. That's perfectly fine.
What do you prefer personally, like creating campaigns for more like a big production or digital ad campaigns?
No, for me, the scale of the campaign is never important. It's how interesting, if the work is fun, that's when, because as I was mentioning to you about Durex, right? It was always on Facebook, that's it. And maybe some digital ads and stuff. But the work was so fun. So that's what keeps me going. It doesn't matter if it's a big television commercial or it's a very small piece of, let's say, an AR filter. It doesn't matter. It depends on how fun the work is and how effective it becomes eventually when it gets out and people start loving it and talking about it. That's what gives me a lot of, I feel fulfilled. And
Awesome. If you were to give an advice for someone who wants to get into become like a creative director like you, like how would you advise them? Like what stages do they have to go through at the beginning and towards the middle of their career?
So in the creative industry, you either become a copywriter, which means you write, or you become a designer and art director, which means you do the designing part, because those two are the key things that are the kind of the pillars of the creative industry, and you have to start at that level. And depending on what where your aptitude is and where your skill set is, you can start with either, and then you move forward. Like you keep working as we start. Like I started as a junior copywriter in an agency. I worked there for like 2 years. Then I got to another agency as a senior copywriter, and then after that, I immediately got a big jump because my work. So you have to keep building your portfolio as and when you keep working with agencies. You have to find the really good ads. Sometimes they are not even published ads, but they are really, they talk about your creativity. They show your creative prowess. They show your language efficiency and all of that. And then you build your own portfolio. And then next time when you think you want to change, you want to step forward in your career, you go meet other agencies, you show them your portfolio, and nobody will talk to you unless they see your portfolio in a creative industry. So this is very, very important. And then, so then you move towards senior copy supervisor or art supervisor, and then creative group head, and then ACD, which is associate creative director, and then you become a creative director. Like I jumped a few steps. Like I was never an ACD. I was a creative group head. From there, I straight away got a job as a creative director. But some people have to probably go through all the steps, which is fine. That's not a problem. And and then you become executive creative director, chief creative officer. The sky is the limit.
Exactly. That's so awesome. So do you see yourself in the future keep doing the creative direct, maybe starting your own agency?
I have run my own agency in India for 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a boutique creative and filmmaking agency called Metamorphosis. And I ran that for 8 years. And no, I don't think I'll ever run my own agency. I prefer this consultancy or freelancing, and where I can pick and choose the projects and the people, very importantly, who I want to work with. That gives me a lot of flexibility, because agency business is also hard, and when you start your own business, you have to see the business side of things more than the creative side of things, right? So, I would never like to go back there.
Okay. And do you see yourself more like a stand-up comedian, like continue stand-up comedy?
I really enjoy the whole process of writing and then going out there and trying to make people laugh. This whole thing really gives me a lot of adrenaline rush and high. So, and I'm loving the process. I'll keep doing it until I love the process. So I really enjoy the journey. I don't have a goal, like an end goal, I just really immensely enjoy the journey, because this is also a very creative process, and it's nerve-wracking to go out there. And, every time you go on stage, you become so nervous. I mean, despite for however long you've done it, I don't know. I mean, I haven't done it for so long also. But when you do well, then if the feeling is so nice, I would love to continue doing that.
I love it. Oh, so much. Okay. Anything you would like to share from your experience?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound preachy or something. A lot of people, after seeing my comedy, they have come and told me that, I wish I want to, and I could never. And I'm like, I was like you. Absolutely. I had no clue that I would ever be able to go up there and do comedy. It's the same in advertising also. It's just do it. There's no shame in failing. There is no shame. Just it's okay to fail. I mean, I think people are always thinking that. Whenever I tell them, I encourage everyone to, hey, just come to an open mic, say whatever. just that whole feeling of standing in front of a mic in front of 10 people and saying what is in your head. And they're like, no, I need to write. I need to. I said, you just need to go out there and do it, and do it badly. It's okay. And fail like 15 times. And I've bombed horribly. And I thought that I'm never going to do it again. But then I really had good friends and supporters who would tell me that, oh, it's okay to fail. Come on, you go and do it again. And so, yeah, I think if you have something in your mind that you are really feel passionate about, I think we should definitely do it. Like try it once and then seeing how it goes.
I love this so much. And this is why I also started this podcast, because I just wanted to talk to really cool people, and I just kind of do it. And I made a brand out of it, and I'm building it, but I don't know where it's going to be. It's just do it, really. Yeah, same thing here. Just do it.
Just do it, yeah.
Yeah. Any like mistake that you think that was major enough that it always comes back to your mind? Like, okay, I made this mistake, never again. Or like, oh, this was a great lesson. Something like this.
I mean, I have made plenty of mistakes, I think. And nothing really... nothing is really that I don't regret anything, any decision that I've taken in my life. So my approach has always been that own your decisions. It can be a bad decision. It's okay to make mistakes. So yeah, no, I think I don't regret at least any of the decisions or any of the mistakes I've made, because from everything I have learned something to go ahead. Like, I'll tell you, I started this food stall a year and a half ago, right? And now, to be honest, I feel like it was a bit of a misadventure. Like, I really don't have a lot of time. It's basically, I understand that I could probably do it really well if I was just doing that, or maybe 2 things. But doing 3 things at the same time, it takes away a lot of time. Like, I have ideas, I really don't have time to implement them. I really neglect that place. I have a feeling I don't do enough for do it. So I kind of see, but at the same time, because I look back and I'm like, no, if I were to look back at a year and a half ago, I would still do it, because I was so keen on doing something in F&B. I'm a foodie and all of that. And I really wanted to do it. So I just did it. And then now I'm like, it's probably a mistake, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll see how it goes. I'm still not quitting. But yeah.
It's so interesting, because it's like creative directing is something I had no idea about, because I quickly jumped into digital marketing only and SEO. So for me, this area is like so blurry. I guess I have a question, because in terms of like the future of creative advertising, because a lot of things are changing with AI, and
you're gonna bring the AI question.
Of course, because here's my hypothesis. I think that because of AI, there's going to be a lot more value in creative advertising. Like, I don't know, like the whole, the experience, the visuals, the KOLs, like, I think they will get more value, because all the other stuff in digital I think it's going to take like a couple of years until your neighbor realizes that all the articles are written by AI,
Yeah, I mean, I have never, there are a lot of people are scared and all that. I have never considered technology as a threat, because I think it's, first of all, we make it ourselves. It's man-made, right? And then we just, it's a nice tool. It's going to help us out, to make it even better and sharper and all that. So I think AI is going to revolutionize in a few years' time. We'll see. It's also, for now, what I see from a little bit of dabbling, I see that it's as good as the prompts you give it, right? So you still need to give it really sharp prompts in order to get good output out of it. So yeah, we still we'll see, I guess. But I think AI is going to be a powerful tool in our hands. It's for the creative agency, creative industry especially. And who knows what's waiting for us in future? Like, so many options and possibilities. And I think also one good thing is that it will probably democratize, like, even, softwares like Canva has really democratized designing and all of that. I mean, these days, I can't do anything with Photoshop, but I do my own poster designs on Canva. And I'm not saying...
Same.
Yeah, I'm not saying that if one is like they're mutually exclusive or one's going to replace the other. But I think some technology also kind of democratizes like when digital camera came, everybody thought that, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I mean, a lot of people have a lot more people have access to digital camera now. It's just easier because you can see what you're clicking right now. So technology always helps us to progress a few steps forward. So yeah, I'm looking forward to using AI for some creative work as well.
Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining the show and
Thank you
how
for
can
inviting
people.
me.
Yes. Oh, by the way, guys, if you guys are in Saigon, you should check out Ankita's comedy shows. They are hilarious, and
Thank you.
just the whole environment are pretty fun. I don't know if are you still doing it for the rehab station. They have a nice venue.
No, I have not done a show in rehab for a long time, actually. I'm mostly doing shows at Le Café de Stagiaire in Taudien.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. The last few shows I've done there. But yeah, if somebody wants to follow my comedy, I'm on Insta called Tough Love @Tough Love with Ankita. You can follow me and then see whatever upcoming shows or my upcoming travels. Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Thank you so much for joining the show, and I will link your Facebook and Instagram down in the show notes. And yeah, thank you so much, Ankita.